All right, guys, welcome back into another episode. It's the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we're dipping back into the Red Sox system. We got a guy who is a repeat customer on this show. He goes by the nickname of Big Tex, and his name's Trennor O'Donnell. And if you don't know Trennor already, he was a draft pick in 2023, and he spent 2024 in Salem. And I am going to ask you a little bit about Salem in a little bit here, but I know you just kind of spilled all this off air, but for the people listening, obviously, how has your off season been? What kind of things have you been up to? And I guess what's the future plans for you this off season?
Yeah, so I think the off season is going pretty well. I'm training at a tread out here in Charlotte. Just pretty much trying to put some extra velo on and work on the mechanics, kind of clean things up a little bit, and just get ready for a big spring training. But besides that, yeah, the off season's going really well, and we're really looking forward to spring training. So.
And you kind of mentioned too that you're working on adding some velo and some other things right now, and obviously it's a dead period in baseball. So I know that you can't hear from any of the coaches or staff or anything like that. Um, Before the dead period started, though, what kind of things did the Red Sox talk to you about that they were looking at for 2025 out of you, and I guess what were some of the goals they laid out?
Yeah, so last season my average fastball was a little bit lower than we wanted as an organization. So pretty much the main emphasis going into this off season was just getting my numbers up to where the org wants me to be, and just I have my own personal goals as well, and I'm just really focusing on hitting those marks and really going into spring training as a guy where they can say, "Wow, this dude really worked hard in the off season, and um, he came in here with something to prove." And yeah, he put in the work, and he's just a guy that is pretty much not going to let anyone take anything from him. So that's my mindset going through the off season. And the off season is super long, so um, sometimes it's hard to see the bigger picture. But if you kind of stick to a day to day basis type of mindset, then it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's I feel like the off season is long, but at the same time, it's pretty short too. Like, because obviously you have like you have the holidays sandwiched in too. Then it's just like okay, that takes out like some time, and before you know it, like I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and it's like spring training report date is well, I think less than 2 months for pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
So it's also sneaking up, but I do agree with you though. It is like long, but it's short at the same time. So for you with your goals and what you're working on out at Tread right now, what does like the day to day training schedule look like? Like what kind of things are you really doing out there? And I guess yeah, can you just take us through like what your program kind of looks like?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so pretty much, I'm a morning guy, so I get in. I mean, not super early or anything, but usually 9:30. Yeah, I guess that's not very early,
I was
but
about to say, man,
I'll
wow.
take that.
that's the morning group. That's the morning group. So yeah, I get in around 9:30, and pretty much just go through all my stretching and all the corrective type deals that they've kind of laid out for me. Um, and a lot of that is a lot of focusing on like hip flexibility and a lot of T spine stuff. So really just working on being able to kind of get into more athletic positions that I was able to last season. Um, and right now, I'm finally built up all the way, so I'm about to start throwing bullpens here pretty soon. Really, really excited for that. I think most dudes during the off season are usually kind of itching to get back off the mound right around now. So yeah, I'm doing all the correctives and stuff, and then usually go into my throwing phase, and I do all the water bag drills and all the fancy stuff. And it works, man. It's been working well, and been seeing a lot of great results, and we're turning in the right direction. But yeah, I usually lift like 3 times a week, I would say. Um, and it's pretty easy schedule. I'm usually done by like 1. So it's not too bad, and I've been really really enjoying it, and been able to meet a lot of really cool guys, and a lot of the coaches out here are super cool. But yeah, I think everyone down here is just like super like minded, and everyone's working to just be the best that they can be. So being in an atmosphere like that really kind of helps you, drive yourself and drive other guys as well. So
And I forgot to ask you this as well. Is this the first year that you've done something like this, like stayed out in Carolina and worked with Tread, or have you done something similar in the past with somewhere else?
yeah, so this is this. I mean, this is my first full off season. So um, this is the first time that I've really kind of been away from home for this long. But going to school away from home for 4 years, I'm kind of used to it by now. Um, but yeah, it's always tough being away from family, and it never gets easier. I'm a big family guy, so I love all the time that I get with my family and friends back home. But there's things that need to get done, and things that need to be worked on to have the career that I want to have. So we're out here right now.
Well, don't worry. I got a little special something to kind of show some love to back home later on in the pod. But I got to get my boring baseball related questions out of the way here. I want to ask you a few questions, obviously, about Salem and just this year. Like you said, this is like your official first full off season, like where you've kind of really gotten a full taste of professional baseball and what it comes in professional baseball player in the off season. But for you in Salem this year, can you just give me like a couple takeaways about like, going the whole year there and I guess how things went for you?
Yeah, I would say my biggest takeaway from the season is just it was a lot of learning, and just kind of learning how the game is played at the professional level, and just learning how to adjust and adapt to the speed that the game is at now. And I think just learning a lot about myself and who I am as a pitcher, and learning how to pitch around guys. And it's a long season, and that was my first full professional season. It's a lot longer than a college season. Just learning a lot about my body, and how my body works, and how I recover, and um, just kind of what I got to do on like a day-to-day basis to stay on the field and be able to give the organization, innings, and get guys out for them. So I think, yeah, Salem was good, and I learned a lot. I would say that I didn't really have the season that I wanted to have, but I learned a lot that's gonna put me on the level that I want to be. So
And also another thing too that I noticed this year is the way that you were used this year, just coming out of the bullpen, starting some games, just being that like long man. I obviously we talked to a couple guys like Noah Dean and Matt Duffy and some other guys that were in similar roles to you as this year down in Salem, and they were I wanted to ask them. It's like, hey, like how do you prepare for that? Where you're not going to be doing the same thing every week. One week you're going to be starting a game, the next week you're going to be the length guy coming in the third inning, like. How did you prepare yourself for that role where you're kind of all over the place?
yeah, I think, well, baseball is such a mental game. I think that once you can get the mental side of things under control, everything just kind of falls into place for you. And I mean, it was a little bit of a challenge at first. I mean, I was a starter all 4 years in college, and then coming out of the pen and facing some of the best hitters around is, it was a little nerve wracking at first. But just being a guy that a team is able to just throw into any role and be able to go out and get guys out is huge. And I mean, everyone needs those kind of guys around. So whether I'm a starter or reliever, just having confidence that I'm able to get the job done at the end of the day, and not really think too much about the role that I'm in, in a certain situation. I think that's a really big deal. And I would say like the fastest way to get to the show is just by being a guy that can be reliable and do anything that they need you to do. So I think that I learned a lot having to be in multiple roles throughout the season. And it was a challenge that I really kind of liked, and it pushed me to be better and to kind of grind through it and learn a lot about myself. So
there's always something that sticks out to me that, we spent a lot of time this past year in Worcester and around Chad Tracy, the manager there in Worcester. And always something that came up is, what they like to do with their pitchers in AAA even is like they want to expose them to every single thing before they get there. Right. So it's like, for example, there was, Zach Penrod and Hunter Dobbins, guys like that, they're on the verge whenever they were on the verge of going up to the bigs. And he's like, hey, we want to see how this guy does in 1 inning spurt, 2 out of the pen, 3, all this. And he said, it's only going to help them when they get there. Do you kind of feel that way as well? I know you kind of said you're kind of happy you did it. And that you're doing it before you get to higher levels. It's only going to get tougher. Once high A, double A, the batters are going to get better. So you kind of happy you got this experience now while in low A to help you out once you do get to Greenville and above.
Yeah, 1,000%. Absolutely. I think that, just having experience and having innings under your belt in just different situations is huge to just feeling comfortable in every situation. It doesn't really matter. You could be bottom of the ninth in the World Series and you got to come in out of the pen, and you got to be ready to go and feel comfortable and confident. So I think that just being in those multiple roles was super helpful. I would think like in the bigger picture sense type of thing.
All right, Jamie, I want to shoot to you for if you have any baseball questions, because I'm going to shoot to this next part here where it's going to be life before the pros. And I have some stuff that I know we didn't ask Trennor on the podcast last offseason. So if you have anything like baseball related, now's your time.
Yeah, I have a couple, and that also kind of feeds into what you're saying. But just going back to your first year, what are some adjustments you had to make, not just from pitching, but just adjusting being a minor league baseball player, making that transition?
Yeah, I think just being intentional about everything, like just day in and day out. It's a grind and it's a long season. And I think the most important thing was just going into every day with like being fully intentional and just getting your work in and, getting 1% better every day. I'm a huge proponent on that saying. But yeah, I think getting 1% better every single day, showing up, being intentional, and just being a reliable guy is huge.
Yeah. So I got one save opportunity. You a guy that likes being in those high leverage situations?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think throughout my career, there's only been, a handful of times where I've ever come out of the bullpen, but getting my first save was pretty cool. And it's a pretty cool feeling to be able to close out a game. It's just different. So it was just like a new taste of something different for me. And I really liked it. And there was a lot of adrenaline coming out of the bullpen. So I was pretty juiced up, ready to go.
Yeah. Did you have any idea going to that game that you might get put into that situation, or was it kind of a surprise how it happened?
Yeah, I knew I was coming out of the pen. I didn't know if I was going to be like a middle relief guy or if I was going to close it out, but ended up coming in to close, and it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, it was a good time.
I went back to the archives for this one. I saw you threw a perfect game in your high school debut. What was that like? Because I think that's a pretty good way to start your high school career right there.
Yeah, it was. There's not many words that can really describe how I was feeling. I think I was like a freshman or like a sophomore or something. But yeah, it was pretty cool, and got a lot of aura points, as Duffy would say. But yeah, that was pretty cool, and not a lot of guys can say they've thrown a perfect game before. it's in high school. So I mean,
So
not a huge deal, but
it
pretty
still
cool.
counts. Just what I was looking up, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty unique high school stat to have there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too that it was good leading me into this into the high school days, but I also I want to follow up on Jamie's question there on you closing the game. You said you liked it. I
Yeah.
always have a thing that these closers are legitimate psychopaths, and you seem like you're too nice to be a closer. But did you get into that mindset of being like, I want to just strike out all these guys? Like, how do you flip that switch?
Yeah, man. I think, well, I love being a guy off the field that just anyone can really come to with anything, and just being a guy that's like an open ear. And if anyone's got any problems or anything going on, like I love sitting and listening to people and doing my best to maybe give a little guidance or anything. And I'm never always going to have the answers to anything by no means, but I like being a guy like that where, teammates can come up to if they've got anything going on, and, just being kind of a support. So, but yeah, flipping the switch, I would say on the field, I'm not as nice of a guy. That's kind of my little getaway from all that stuff. So
Okay.
when I'm on the mound, it's a different ball game. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to earn a job at the big league level, and trying to prove that I belong there. And I'm not gonna bow down to anyone, let anyone take anything from me. So I think there's definitely a different mindset and a little bit more of a ugly attitude out there for sure, especially out of the bullpen. So
Well, I will say when I said psychopaths, I meant it in the good way. Obviously, I always joke with like guys like Jonathan Brand and when AJ Politi was in the system, and those guys were like closing games and some of the affiliates. And I'm just like, you guys got to be like just a tick crazy in the head to just be like, I want the ball in my hand, up one, like bottom of the ninth. Like I don't know, you gotta have it. But okay, I am switching here to life before pros here. I don't know if we asked you some of these questions last year, but I'm just going to do it again anyway because I am curious, and I don't think I did ask any of these. Um, I like to start this off. You grew up down in Texas. You're obviously big Tex, but who got you into baseball?
that'll be my dad. Yeah, my dad. I mean, I've been playing baseball for, man, feels like as long as I can walk. But yeah, yeah. Started out in t-ball, and my pops was my coach. So um,
That'll do it.
yeah. So, my dad was always just pushing me, and always wanted me to be the best version of me. And, regardless of there being a professional career to come out of it, there's lessons to learn from playing sports and being in that atmosphere and being on a team. And, you just learn a lot from being in those certain atmospheres. Like, you learn how to work as a team, you learn how to lead people, you learn how to not freak out when big situations come up. And, not everything in life is going to go perfectly. So just being able to kind of roll with the punches and adjust on the fly is something that I've definitely learned from the game of baseball. And it definitely applies to life as well. But yeah, I would say my dad was the uh, biggest supporter and uh, fan, pushing me through all the crazy times over the years.
I did see too that you do have a younger sibling, Matthias, and I think I've seen you share some things on like Instagram and things, kind of like rooting him on and everything. What was that like being the older brother growing up and having a sibling that I would assume looked up to you in a way and wanted to also play baseball and all the things that you did as well. So what was that like, kind of having him growing up and then watching him now, like at his age now and what he's doing?
Yeah, so I mean, it was really cool. And it's I love being the big brother. So it's cool to have someone younger, and that hasn't really experienced getting punched in the face too much by life yet, and just kind of being able to guide him as he you know takes on the world. He's a freshman at Ole Miss this year, so he's not playing ball anymore. He wants to go into a different path, but everyone's got their own thing, and I'm super proud of him. And he's got a gray head on his shoulders, super smart kid, and I think he's going to be successful in whatever he does. So. But it was cool, and being able to kind of share some special moments over the years with him, whether it's going and watching him at his games or him coming to watch me. We got to share a lot of cool moments.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have an absolute blast at Ole Miss. I know that is a heck of a time, especially tailgating on Ole Miss football games, dude. That town, Oxford, man, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
I never, I couldn't find this information online anywhere. What did you major in?
I was a business administration major.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went the business route, but I was pretty focused on filling up the zone. So
okay.
So I was a business major, and I would say that I was a good student. I made good grades. I was on time to class, and it was never a problem because you gotta pass to play. So
yep. So yep, mom and dad are listening. That's good.
Yep.
The reason I asked that question is because the last two guys I've had on this podcast, actually, one was a kinesiology major, the other one was a psychology major, and they both were telling me they're just like, yeah, I majored in psychology because a lot of baseball is mental, and I just wanted to kind of learn that side while I was that age. And I'm like, dude, you're absolutely genius. Like, I never even thought of it that way. The other guy, CJ Culpepper with the Twins, he was just like, I was a kinesiology major. I wanted to learn how my body like threw a pitch and if I was doing it right and all this. And I was just like, dude, like you guys are like smarter than like I think people give you credit for. It's like you guys already think about some of these things, and it's like, oh yeah, I did this because of this. So I had to ask. I wasn't sure if there was like a unique one or something like that out there.
No, pretty general business, man.
Okay,
We'll get a big league contract, and after the career's over, we'll fire up a business or something.
There you go. All right. So I told you I was going to show some love to the hometown here. It's a place that's near and dear to my heart as well now, the city of Grapevine, Texas. You also, I don't know. I'm a little confused. So did you play for 2 or 3 different high schools? Or
2?
2. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you just tell? All right. So here's this question. I know that Texas is a baseball hotbed. There's no like secret about that. Everybody knows a lot of athletes come from Texas. You hear California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of guys come from there. But what was it like for you? Like, did you have to go against like guys that are in the pros now? Like, what was playing in your neck of the woods down in a suburb of Dallas like for you in high school? And how did that prep you for going to college?
I mean, man, the competition down there is no joke. I mean, it seems like there's at least 3 or 4 dudes on each team that are going D1. So, and I mean, I got pretty lucky. I got to face Bobby Witt. I don't really know what year it was. I think it was like a summer ball tournament or something, but I'm pretty sure I gave up a home run to him. So maybe one of these days I'll get back at him. But the competition is no joke. I mean, it seems like everyone is just kind of bred to, be an extreme athlete of some sort. I think I played on like a 8U T-ball team, and I think just about every single kid on that team ended up playing a Division I sport at some capacity. So, I mean, it was just pretty ridiculous, man. I mean, we do it different down in Texas, man. You say everything's bigger in Texas, and the sports are bigger, the schools are bigger, and it's just kind of a way of life down there. Honestly, it's a lot of fun though.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have a couple more Texas questions later, but before I kind of jump to another thing here, I wanted to ask you this. I had one of your fellow big men in the organization on the show, Blake Wehunt, about a couple weeks ago, and something that fans I think are starting to notice as he's getting a little higher in the system, like obviously he got up to Portland this year, is he has this unique head whack where he just like throws his it's just I can't even explain it. It just looks unique. And he's a big dude. He's 6'7". You're also a big guy. You're what, 6'8"? I don't want to discredit you there. So how come you didn't have like any unique things like that? And I learned the backstory on him on like why he did it, because his dad kind of taught him like, to reach down for it while pitching. Being as tall as you are, how hard was it to kind of get your mechanics to where they are today? Like, did it come with just a little more training and prep? Like, I guess, how did that like kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, I would say, just kind of, I had a pretty big growth spurt like my sophomore year of high school, and just having to struggle through just feeling super awkward and like lanky and uncoordinated. Just, it wasn't very fun. And, um, just a lot of like mechanical struggles came along with that. And, I think just as time goes by, I just get more and more comfortable, and training and doing all that stuff, getting stronger. Uh, it's definitely a huge help trying to, just get more athletic. And it's not super easy for guys like Blake and I. We're huge dudes, so it's not easy to move like some of these super athletic guys. But we have to adjust, and maybe Blake's adjustment was throwing the head down a little bit. And for me, it's kind of just using my size and using it to my advantage. I mean, my biggest outlier is my extension, how close I release the ball to the plate. So, I mean, I could be, it looks like I'm throwing the ball from like 50 feet. So it's, everyone has their different things that they're good at. And I think that just over time, everyone just kind of figures it out on their own and kind of grows into themselves and figures out what works for them.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance to get down to the complex after this past draft the Red Sox had, and saw the group of pitchers that they drafted. And, it's, guys like Brandon Clark, Peyton Tolley, the list goes on. They're just some big boys. And the thing that comes to mind is they have elite extension, kind of like what you just said. And it's something that, you can teach, but it's like, it's kind of a God-given trait. So I feel like, you're just right in that. You and Blake as well are right there in that from the last draft as well. But Jamie, do you have anything else before I'm going to jump to some other things off the field, if you have anything?
Yes. What was it like growing up pitching that Texas heat? I'm guessing you pitched in some pretty humid days, and what was it like just dealing with that?
Yeah, I mean, get used to it over time, but there were definitely some summers that you're just out on the field. Maybe it's like you're not throwing or something. You're just kind of sitting out there, and it's a turf field. It's like 110 degrees out. I've had games where the bottom of my cleats melted because it's so hot on the turf. But it's just going back. You got to roll with the punches, man, and just stay hydrated for sure. So
Yeah.
you don't want to pass out on the field, but. Yeah, it gets hot down there for sure. And I don't, Andrew, have you experienced a Texas summer yet? Or
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well,
It's I think it's, dude, Texas in like, I think Texas in the, let's say, late fall and the start of winter is perfect, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get any better than that. I mean, like mid 60s, 70s, like does get a little chilly at night, but I mean, I love it. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, man. It's like, that's like St. Louis weather to a T. So I'm going to report back to you probably during the summer. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So I forget who we had on a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and they were talking about just in Portland and just that shock they had for being their opening day when I think it was snow on the ground last year. I think they were from the South, and just like they're like, yeah, this gets pretty cold being there that time of year.
Yeah, I think it was Drew Earhart. He's a Florida guy, and he was just like, dude, that was and I think Blaze Jordan as well, he's a Southern guy, and he's just like, that was not fun.
Yeah. I was a little bit kind of like, I felt kind of lucky that I went to school at Ball State, getting drafted by Boston. So I feel like I kind of am ready for some colder weather outings. And I've done it before, so
Okay.
Just
all right. So I'm jumping the beyond the box score here. Just not, I don't know, just some off the field stuff, things. I know we asked you some things last offseason, but I got some new stuff for you. I think I know this answer too that I'm about to ask. What do you do in your free time? Like, what are you doing on an off day? What are you doing when you're not training? Like, what are you doing?
Man, for the most part, just resting, recover, just take care of myself. But I love fishing, and I love golfing, and I love hunting. So it's usually one of the three. I also play guitar a little bit, so
okay.
I spend quite a few hours doing that. But everyone's got their pastimes, and those are my main ones. I would say fishing is probably my number one. I actually recently just took up backpacking. I just went on my first trip. I did like 18 and a half miles up the Appalachian Trail with one of my buddies that I met up here. His name's John Michael. He's in AAA with the Giants. So we went on a little adventure up in the mountains, but it was a lot of fun. It was challenging for sure, but never back down from a challenge, man.
Holy cow, 18 and a half miles. I would probably not leave my bed the whole next day. I feel like I'd be.
I need a couple weeks.
Yeah, man.
Seriously. That's impressive, man. I mean, I thought I knew what you were going to say. Everybody gives me the golf or the Call of Duty, whatever it is, but I do have a question. I have a golf question later, so we'll figure that one out. Okay. All right. This is one that I'm just generally curious about. When is the last time that you were completely clean shaved and had just a high and tight haircut?
Man, probably like my freshman year at college.
It's been that long?
Yeah. I've had some sort of either long hair or facial hair. And I've decided that the facial hair is probably the best look for me. I've got quite the baby face when I don't have a beard. So I think we're gonna stick to either the mutton chops or the beard. And I think I might let the hair grow out a little bit, see if it adds a little velocity on for me. So it's
okay.
It's touching like the back of my shoulders. It's pretty curly, but I think having some flow going down at spring training is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, won't be like too hot yet in Florida. Then obviously, like if you're starting the year in Greenville or whatever, it's I feel like Greenville summers are pretty nice. I like Greenville in the summer. Okay, that was just me. I was just curious about that. I just had to ask because I know obviously you change it all. We were talking about that earlier, but
yeah,
I was curious. All right. Don't think too hard about this one, but if you were not playing baseball in the professionals, what would you be doing right now?
Oh boy, man, I would probably be starting to try to start my own business, doing something. That's what my dad did. So I kind of grew up watching him try to, or not try, but running a business. And that's something that I've always been interested in because, I love leading people. And I think that's a trait that I've been fortunate to pick up. But yeah, I think maybe going into like commercial construction or something along the lines, maybe some architecture type stuff. I always just find that stuff really fascinating, and I love using the imagination to see what I can conjure up in the brain. So something along the lines of that for sure. Yeah.
It's always cool to like hear like what guys have in mind, and obviously you're not, nobody plays forever. Obviously everybody's going to have an end of their baseball career one way or another, and it's always cool to kind of hear like, hey, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably wouldn't do that. So I like that answer.
Yeah.
All right, we're jumping into a couple Mount Rushmore questions here. Obviously I just need your top fours. I learned recently that you are a big Dallas Stars fan, and I was unfortunate enough, I guess, to go to a Dallas Stars Bruins game, and the Stars scored 8 points, and I had a Dallas Stars song chanted in my face for the entire night, and it's still stuck in my head to this day. But with that being said, you're a Dallas guy, and I'm sure you have some favorite athletes over your life, and I want to know, just this is the Trennor O'Donnell Mount Rushmore of Dallas athletes in your lifetime. Who would you put in your top four?
Oh man. Well, okay, let's see here. I'm gonna go with Brendan Morrow. He's got to be up there.
Wow. Okay. That's a good poll.
I loved watching Brendan Morrow. I mean, my dad and my mom and dad used to take me to all the Stars games growing up. But I just loved watching him play, and hockey's one of my favorite sports to watch. I mean, it's just action packed all the time, and something's always going on. And a guy like Brendan Moore, I mean, he was just a beast on the ice. So super fun to watch. I would say next, I'm probably gonna go with Adrian Beltre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got to spend a lot of time like primetime Rangers, like Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrews, Josh Hamilton. You know, I really enjoyed when Napoli was with the Rangers. He was pretty fun to watch. And same with Prince Fielder. But I would say Brendan Morrow. I'm gonna throw Mike Modano on there as well. Pretty
Oh yeah.
pretty epic career. And he just got a statue put up out at the American Airlines. So,
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Morrow, Modano, Beltre, and I'm gonna throw Nolan Ryan on there as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You know what though? Those are some good polls for a guy who's pretty young. Because I tell Jamie and Chris and these guys on that we do this with, and I'm just like, it's kind of weird, like saying like who'd you like watching growing up, and they were like, oh, I think I got Felix Hernandez the other day. I was like, oh shoot, I was like 10 when he like was still playing, or it's like I was way older than you guys are, so it's like one of those things where it's like, holy cow, man! Like you said, Mike Napoli, and we just watched him win a World Series in Boston. It felt like yesterday.
Yeah.
I know it was a while ago, but I think it's a solid four, man. It's probably, and I love the hockey polls there. I feel like I don't really get too many hockey polls, so I appreciate that out of you.
Yeah.
All right, next Mount Rushmore. It's going to be the harder one of the two. It's going to be, food is near and dear to my heart, and I think every one of us on here can appreciate it. So again, this is another Trennor O'Donnell Mount Rushmore, but I need food chains. It can be fast food or sit down. I need your top four.
Okay, let's see here. Number one, Whataburger. It's got to be, dude. Texan at heart. It's the number one spot to go.
I have something to say later about that.
Oh boy, here we go. But yeah, Whataburger is, it's great. I've been limiting my fast food supply through the off season, trying to really stay in shape and show up to spring training looking good. So
that's
no
fair.
Whataburger for me. But yeah, back in the day, that was the go-to. So that'll be number one. I'm gonna go with In-N-Out, number two. Big In-N-Out guy, love it. Little double, some animal fries. Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. This might surprise you, but I love a Smoothie King, man. Smoothie King is
solid,
pretty top notch. I love a Smoothie King, and I'm gonna throw Jersey Mike's on there as well.
Good man.
Jersey Mike's is just. I actually had a sandwich yesterday, so I love a number 13 from Jersey Mike's, man.
Dude,
So.
our guy Mike never does us wrong. Never does us wrong, dude. I love that. I think that's the first Jersey Mikes I've gotten this offseason. So thank you for that. I love Jersey Mikes.
Oh yeah.
Jamie, I got one last segment to end it on. Do you have any like random one-offs here?
I do. So you're opening your Spotify Wrapped. What is your top 5 songs from the year? Just your go-to music.
Ooh, that's a good
dude,
one.
I'm a metalhead, man. I love Metallica.
I did see this.
I love Metallica. They're just like, they're awesome. I love it. I can play every single Metallica song that they've ever written on guitar. So I think the first song I ever learned to play was Enter Sandman. So yeah, number one for me this year was Metallica. I think I had some Pantera on there, some Lamb of God a little bit. I think my top 5 songs, I wouldn't be able to tell you my top 5 songs that were on there, but I'm a metalhead, man. It fires me up. I love listening to it in the weight room. Keeps the blood pumping, and all my warm up songs are pretty hardcore. So, I like to think that it gets the fans going too.
Yeah. What's the best concert you've been to?
Oh man, I went and saw Metallica last offseason in St. Louis with my buddy Zach Cole. He's in the Astros organization. I think he's their number 4 prospect right now, so he's doing well for himself. But yeah, he's my homeboy. We were roommates in college, and so I flew up there and we went to go see the show together. But man, it was incredible. It was a pretty incredible time.
That's one concert I've always wanted to be. I'm not a big metal person, but I've listened to Metallica, and that's always one concert that's on my bucket list.
I recommend it, man. It was a good time. And Pantera was there doing like some opening shows, and it was pretty cool. It's a good time.
You're a big metal guy, so I'm going to ask this. Don't get offended by this. Would you consider Motley Crue like real rock?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I would say it's, there's different like category. Like,
yeah, they're in a different category than Metallica.
Yeah, I would say they're like hair metal, like that sort of deal. But I love Motley Crue. They got some great music, and
that's my favorite. I mean,
yeah, dude, they've got some freaking killer songs, dude. So, yeah,
I just wanted to double check because I saw your Spotify Wrapped you uploaded to your IG, and the only reason why I remember it is because it was so different than everybody. You see like Post Malone's, you see like Morgan Wallen, you see like all the Drake, like all the all the big guys. You posted one and it was like Metallica, like metal and all this, and I'm like, it's just Trennor, man. It's so unique. I love it. It's so different than everybody else.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I love country music, and I listen to rap sometimes, but it's not my favorite. And I love rock music, man. It just kind of resonates with me more. And I think probably because I've played guitar, I've played for like 15 years now. So I just love that sort of music. And I like kind of hearing what different artists are doing and kind of trying to pick it apart with my brain. But metal is the way to go for me, man.
All right. I don't hate it, man. All right. I got one last segment here before we end it. You're giving us a ton of your time. It's just going to be a quick one. Like you can just go off the top of your head. I might ask a why you think like this, if you might be in the minority here. So we'll see. There's a couple on here that I'm going to have to ask, like, you got to validate yourself here. So the first one, I'm going to start off a very easy one. In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Whataburger.
Can I ask why? Like, what about Whataburger is over In-N-Out?
I think every bit of it. It's it's for me the sweet and spicy bacon burger with some fries and a milkshake, dude. It's unbeatable. And I think part of it is because Whataburger is like the Lone Star State. You think of a burger, you're going to get a Whataburger when you're in Texas, man. So, I mean, I'm a loyal guy. I got to stick with a Whataburger. I love In-N-Out. Don't get me wrong.
You listed them both earlier, so that's why I had to ask.
Yeah, but for me, Whataburger.
Okay. If there was a way that we could combine the two restaurants, because I love the burger from In-N-Out and the fries from Whataburger, and if you make that a restaurant, it's my favorite. But the burger at Whataburger tasted like a Dairy Queen burger. It was just like a step up above it, which isn't a bad thing. Love that. But yeah, and then the fries at In-N-Out were terrible. So all right, that one was a controversial one. But we're moving on. If you had to pick between these two TV channels, are you watching HGTV or History Channel?
History Channel, for sure.
Good man.
Yeah, dude.
If you had to pick Florida Heat or Texas Heat,
Texas Heat.
they're both bad.
Yeah, they are both bad, but man, the humidity is just
Florida's different.
It's draining, man. It's draining.
Okay. Sunflower seeds or bubble gum?
Oh wow. I'm gonna go with seeds.
Good
yeah,
man.
I love some dill pickle seeds.
You picking a day game or a night game?
What time of year is it?
Let me rephrase this then, because I've had I think a lot of people have been saying day games here, but let's just say it's a Sunday day game or Tuesday night game, and it's August.
Man, I'm gonna go with a night game.
Okay.
I like playing at night. I think it's just a different feel, and I think night games are like a little bit more high energy from the crowd, I think. And I'm a guy that I love feeding off energy. So if it's jam packed and loud, then I love it, dude. It's awesome. But
Okay.
yeah.
I've been getting a lot of day games. I've been surprised. I thought it would just be all night games, so that's why I keep asking it, because I'm always curious. Tough one for you here. Jamie Benn or Tyler Seguin?
I got to go with the captain, man. Jamie Benn for sure. But I mean, dude, Tyler Seguin is next level, man. He's a dude. They're both dudes. I feel like there's not a right answer to that, but I'm going with Jamie Benn. I feel like he's just an all-around guy, and I think I really like the way that he carries himself. And he just seems like super professional, and I like the way that he goes about his business. So I'm going Jamie Benn.
I know this one. I have a couple different ones here. I'm gonna ask you a few different ones, but I know you're a Ball State guy and you're Ball State through and through. But I'm gonna ask you about a couple schools in Texas. You got to choose between the two.
Okay.
Are we going Longhorns or are we going Aggies? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Now we'll go again. Are we going Aggies or are we going Baylor?
Oh, gig 'em. Come on.
Okay. Now we going A&M or we going TCU?
Gig 'em.
Okay. Now SMU or Texas A&M?
A&M.
Really?
Yeah, man.
SMU, man. They're like in the college football playoff this year, repping Dallas.
I was at the A&M Texas game this couple weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun. It was brutal to watch.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. And Kyle Field is just insane, dude. There are so many people there.
Oh,
I think at the tailgate they were actually cooking a Longhorn over a fire, like a full-grown Longhorn, just rotating over the fire. And like right before kickoff, they went and sawed the horns off of it. So,
dude, just the SEC, man, it's just a different place. Like I don't know, man. I was, I'm a Mizzou guy. I gotta show some love, but we used to do the tailgates where we roasted the pig, but I feel like that's a little, for when we played the Razorbacks. I feel like that's like kind of like a little more, but a whole longhorn and sawing the horns off, that's like next level, man. Like roasting the pig, that's pretty normal. That's standard operation. That is a whole other. That's crazy, man. All right, I got 2 questions left here. Let's do this one first. Another food one, and then I got a baseball one to kind of end it. Would you choose a cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich?
Oh man, is it Chick-fil-A?
You can whatever you want it to be.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with a chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be Chick-fil-A because Zaxby's doesn't have chicken sandwiches. So yeah, I'll stick with.
Have you been to Whistle Britches yet?
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's a good chicken sandwich.
That chicken at Whistle Britches in South Lake, Texas, is one of the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. It's just not a chain, so like I can't ever like be like, oh, like everybody go try it. 'Cause it's got to be in South Lake, Texas. So
it's life changing, man. It'll change your life.
it was even good reheated. I'm gonna leave it at that because my wife like didn't finish all hers. We reheated it and it was still as crispy as it was when they served it to us. Freaking insane. All right, last one to end it on here. This one's a tough one for some pitchers, so let's hear this. Would you rather have a strikeout or an inning-ending double play?
Oh man. What's the context of the strikeout? The strikeout to end the inning or just any strikeout?
Just any strikeout.
I'm gonna go with a double play, man. I think that's for me is one of the most satisfying things, like getting a little bit of a pickle. You got a guy on first and just get an easy grounder and trust your dudes back there. And it's a really good feeling to get a double play to get out of something. So
all right, yeah, maybe I'll fix that for next time. I'm gonna do an inning strikeout. We'll see what that is. Maybe it'll help weigh the scales a little bit more even. But Trennor, you gave us a ton of your time, man. We appreciate hopping on with us, and we're obviously looking forward to seeing you in spring training. Obviously, it's a big one for you, and we're rooting nothing but best for you going into 2025. But Trennor, thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.